What's up, everybody? Justin here. We are back. More CD collection. I hope you enjoyed the giant update video I had put up a few days ago. Sorry that the videos have slowed down. I've been really fucking busy. But I'm going to try to get back into doing a video every 2 to 3 days. So, anyway, we're still in the F's. I think we're going to finish, we're going to finish the F's and get into a couple of G's. So these are moving along. First, we are listening to Reverence with Vendy Knock Compt. Reverence was a French black metal band. This demo came out in 2003. This one is limited to 300. I have number 205. It's professionally printed. Black on the inside. Anyway, Reverence, on their demo material, played just kind of a standard, really grim, deliberate black metal. Dark Throne, Gorgoroth, kind of a Swedish sound, kind of like Strid or nothing. They're not reinventing the wheel, but it's perfect, just grim black metal. Pretty mid-paced, and back about the time this came out, I got really, really sucked into just listening to as much black metal as I could, and this was a band that I liked, and I listened to. I downloaded the demo on like Napster or something, or Soulseek or something back then, or Audio Galaxy. There's an old one. And I really liked it, and something made me think of them the other day, and I looked them up on Discogs, and I snagged this demo for a couple dollars. And it's great, man. It's really, really good. It sounds really good. Like, it's produced and recorded well. Now, by the time they got to doing full lengths, which they have several of, they completely flipped the script and have this weird, like, experimental industrial sound now. And that's not my thing. I haven't listened to a lot of it to really see how good they are, but it's not my thing. But this is the second demo they did. I fucking love it. It's good shit. Okay, into the CDs. First up, we have Full of Hell. So Full of Hell are one of my favorite current bands, and a little backstory, I went to see Integrity in Nashville, Tennessee about 6 years ago. And Integrity is my favorite band of all time, and until that point, I had never seen them. They have only played and toured sporadically from the late 90s into the early teens of this century. I think they played in Atlanta once between 2000 and... They played in Atlanta once in 2004. That's the last time they played here. Anyway, they played in Nashville in 2013, so 5 years ago, I guess. And I went to see them, and Full of Hell was touring with them. Full of Hell opened. And I enjoyed them. My initial impression was, wow, these are children. They all look super young, and a couple of them were super, super young at the time. But they were extremely fucking just violent and intense, just visceral. They play a brand of extreme music that's hard to classify. They're not a grind band. They're not a power violence band. They're not a hardcore band. They're not a death metal band. They're all of that. And it's so tasteful. They play these short, just intense songs that are just so in your face and cathartic, and they're awesome. And I really enjoyed them that night. Ended up getting their first full length on LP, Rudiments of Mutilation, and a couple of 7 inches here and there, and slowly kept up with them. I ended up seeing them in Baltimore the next year. I saw them here in Atlanta a few times. And now, to this point, 5 years later, I've seen them probably, I don't know, 8 or 9 times. And along the way, I've befriended them. I've done a lot of design work for them. I've done a lot of t-shirt designs and tour poster designs for them. And talked with them at length, in person and online. We've become buddies, especially me and Spencer, the guitar player, and me and Dylan, the singer. They're really, really good guys. So, anyway, they signed to Profound Lore along the way, and then they released this full length, which is a kind of a co-authored release with Merzbow, the Japanese noise musician. So one thing that Full of Hell does, they have a noise aspect. They play this crazy, intense grind, style of music with power electronics laced into it. And they do it so well. They do it very tastefully. And live, it's an experience. It's really, really an experience live. Especially if you can see them somewhere. Because I've seen them on big stages, I've seen them at festivals, and I've seen them in places the size of a bedroom. And when the sound is right, and the venue is right, man, you can feel that electronic aspect of what they do, like, in your bones, man. It's awesome. Now, I'm not the biggest Merzbow fan. I have a couple of Merzbow records, and he's one of those noise artists that he has 500 albums, and it's impossible to wade through. And some of it is really, really elegant and really, really crafted really well, and some of it I think is just kind of like phoned in digital nonsense. But this record, there's a juxtaposition of Full of Hell doing Full of Hell and Merzbow doing Merzbow. And it works. I really, really like this record. It's good. It was definitely it was a leap for a band to sign to a label, a bigger label, and say, okay, we're going to do this new full length. This is our chance to jump out there, but hey, we're going to do this collaboration with this artist. But it worked. It really worked. And they've done more collaborations with The Body and Krieg, and I'm not a Body fan at all, and I don't listen to those records very much. I have these 2 CDs, but I have everything they've done on vinyl, even down to almost all of the 7 inches. What I don't have, they've done some noise-only tapes. I don't have any of those. I need to get them. I need to try to track them down. Anyway, then last year they put out this, which I think is kind of their magnum opus, Trumpeting Ecstasy. This record is Full of Hell. It is just, man, it is something fucking else. It's short, it's 20 minutes long, but it's a suffocating, just stab in the neck. It slits your throat at the beginning, and then you bleed out for the next 20 minutes. It's intense. It's impossible to kind of get tired of, because by the time it starts and you're in it, it's over. And the one record I keep comparing it to in my mind, not sonically, it doesn't sound anything like this, but the way that I accepted it and the way that I feel about it is Ass Suck's Misery Index. Because Misery Index is one of my favorite albums of all time. It's 15 minutes long, and by the time it gets started and you get into it and you're locked into that fucking feeling, it's over. And that's how Trumpeting Ecstasy is. And it's just, man, it is something else. And I went and saw them like 3 or 4 days ago. They played in Atlanta, and I was going to do a show experience video, and I recorded some stuff on the way there, and then I had too much fun just hanging out and talking and watching the bands. I scrapped it all. So, sorry. But they just, man, they're better and better every time I see them. I've seen them get some shit from some kind of like death metal, black metal purists who don't understand what they're doing, but I've seen them get a lot of support from some people in the death metal scene and in the black metal scene, and I think they rightfully deserve it. They're fucking amazing. They're one of my favorite bands, and I can't wait to see what they do next. Next, we have Full Moon with United Aryan Evil. So this is certainly a controversial title. Full Moon with a Polish black metal band. And, I mean, they pulled no punches in the fact that they were kind of like promoting white power. With songs like Aryans Ride Over Fallen Israel. And this is one of those albums that, like, the first time I listened to it is out of sheer just, like, curiosity. Like, what does a band that's this blatant in their politics sound like? And it's great. It's really, really rough, dense, cold, raw black metal. Long songs. I mean, that first song's like 12 minutes long. Drum machine. There's clean guitars in it. It's Polish, and I think the Polish write some of the best black metal. Velis, Infernum, Graveland, all that shit. Some of my favorite material ever. And I love this CD, regardless of the fact that how sketchy it is. It's just, man, I really, 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 really sonically like what they're doing. And I like the look of it, the presentation of it. It's grim and obscure. And I don't really... They've done some other stuff, but this one is where it's at. This version was... I downloaded a copy years and years ago and burned my own copy. That's a cover of the cassette version. This is just like my own home bootleg. So, that I've had forever. Next, we have Funebrarum with Beneath the Columns of Abandoned Gods. And Funebrarum is a death metal band originally based in like the New Jersey, New York area. And now they're spread out across the country. I think that like 3 of the 4 members are in the Portland area. And then Daryl Kahan, the singer, is in New York or Jersey, somewhere in there. And they're that dark, cavernous, brutal death metal, incantation, that type sound. But Funebrarum has been around forever. I'm good buddies with Dave. Used to be the bass player for many, many years. He's also in Evoken, good friend of mine. But I really like Funebrarum. They're one of those bands. They've been around forever. They don't get as much support and as much recognition as I think they deserve. But I think it would take the right label and the right backing to really push them into the fucking forefront. But they're still out there doing it, man. They tour every year. They play every year. It's kind of Daryl's baby. He's got a new solid lineup of younger guys behind him, and they're out there killing it. And I'm ready for them to do something new. This is the only CD I have. I got a couple of their records though. Then we have Funeral Fog with Under the Black Veil. This was... It says limited edition promo. It was like a demo the band did, and I bought it from them directly. Demonstration only, not for sale on the CD there. So Funeral Fog is a Canadian black metal band, I believe. And they had a song on a compilation. I want to say a Brave Words and Bloody Knuckles compilation. And I fucking loved it. It's really riffy, catchy, hooky black metal. Programmed drums. It's tasteful. And it's just one of those songs that like I kept listening to over and over and over. So I contacted the band. 2003 is when it came out. And I contacted the band, bought a copy. And it's good. I mean, it's really good. I think they ended up doing another full length. I don't remember. But it's certainly generic. I mean, there's nothing new here. Forest of Shadows, Transylvanian Bloodlust. They have a song called Graveland. But I want to say Order of the Dragon is the song that was on that comp that I liked so much. And I haven't listened to this in years, but now that it's in front of me, I want to pull it out again because I used to listen to it so much. Then, so this band's been mentioned several times in the past couple weeks. Funeral Mist with Devilry. So Devilry is an EP. Funeral Mist, of course, it's Ariok. It's the singer of Marduk. It is his solo project that existed long before Marduk did, and or long before he was in Marduk, rather. He dropped a brand new album last week called Hecatomb. I listened to it last night and I enjoyed it, but Funeral Mist is an acquired taste, and it took me several years of listening to them and immediately being like, oh, I don't like it, before something clicked. It is super, super non-linear and chaotic and cacophonous, and it doesn't sound like any black metal band you have ever heard. They're super, super unique, and his vocals are odd. It's not like Marduk. There's lots of spoken word, and there's lots of like clean kind of talk screamed vocals. But he has he's got his blinders on. Like there's a definite like ideological and imagery, path he's going down with Funeral Mist, and that's what I like about it. That's what I like, his direction. I like the thematic elements to Funeral Mist, but they're a tough listen. But once you break that shell and get into it, they're really, really, really good. So, and I like the new one. I need to get some more. I listened to them several times, and they were a band that I never would go out of my way and purchase anything, because I wasn't sure if I liked it that much. And then this was on sale at Criminal Records one day. Criminal is the big local Atlanta record store. But I need to get the full lengths. This is actually demo stuff, I believe. Or it's an EP and then a demo tacked on to it. So next we have Funereal Moon. Funereal Moon. With, I don't know the name of this one. Satan's Beauty Obscenity / Grim Evil. So Funereal Moon is a Mexican black metal project. It's been around forever. And it's funny, man, like the whole time like the Scandinavian black metal thing was happening in the early 90s, Mexico was doing the same thing. And even now, 25 years later, there's still these bands coming out of Mexico that have existed for 25 years that people didn't know about. And I feel like Funereal Moon is one of those. This was given to me as a promo to review, and it was recorded in 1996 and 1997. But I listened to it a few times, and I remember being like pleasantly surprised at how much I liked it. But I haven't listened to it in a long time, and I don't really remember what it was that I liked so much. But I like this photo on the back of him. It's a live photo, and he's at like an altar, like a pulpit singing. That's just rad, man. I'd love to go see some nasty fucking black metal in some, tiny little basement club in the middle of nowhere in Mexico. Maybe I can make that happen one day. Then we have Funerot with Invasion from the Death Dimension. This was also a promo that I got in the mail back when I used to write for a website. Came out on Razorback a bunch of years ago. And I don't remember much about this or who's in the band. I remember it being kind of like thin and weird sounding. It's not like death metal. But somewhere on here, one of these songs, I'd have to go back and listen to it, has this weird like I Hate God riff in it that immediately I was like, that's rad, that's different. I'm gonna have to pull this up and listen to it. I feel like there's something about this band I know, like trivia wise, I don't remember what it is. Then we have Gateway to Hell, a tribute to Slayer. This came out on Dwell Records in the late 90s, and it's just a bunch of black and death metal bands doing Slayer covers. The best one by far is Monstrosity doing Angel of Death, which I've talked about on the it's on In Dark Purity. So From the Depths is on here, who I talked about a couple videos ago. Sadistic Intent, Dark Funeral. Imprecation is on here. Imprecation, old school death metal band from from Texas, some buddies of mine. But if you want to listen to Slayer but heavier, throw something like that on. It's a novelty. Then we've got Genocide with Apocalyptic Visions. I am not sure where I got this or anything about this. I have no idea. I have no idea where this came from or what it sounds like or anything. It looks kind of like black punk war metal. I don't know. Kind of sketchy looking, which we all know that doesn't bother me. But they have their own version of the 14 words here. We must secure the total extermination of all races and a future for non-eternity. For non-entity. I don't know. I'll put a link below. We'll check them out. I don't know anything about it. I don't even know where it came from. I'll look them up and something will remind me. Then, last this round, we have one of my favorite groups, Genocide Organ. I have 2 of their CDs. I absolutely love Genocide Organ. They are a power electronics group from Germany. And they've existed for decades. They've been met with no small amount of controversy for their subject matter and their just give no fucks attitude. So, first, this CD, which is in Japanese, I have no idea what that says, is a collection of material recorded between 1985 and 1990. And it bridges the gap between 2 of their bigger releases. Now, I didn't get into Genocide Organ and power electronics until, 5 or 6 years ago. And so I'm slowly buying what I see. And their stuff is really hard to come by. Well, their CDs aren't so much hard to come by, but they're always a little more pricey than buying a death metal CD or something like that. But, far and away, Genocide Organ is my favorite of this kind of stuff. And if you're unaware with this style of music, it's instruments made to create the sounds they're not meant to create. It's manipulating feedback from synthesizers and manipulating feedback and noises from just signals from mixers and distortion modules and there's percussion and there's really distorted vocals and samples and it differs from harsh noise where you're taking a signal and you're amplifying it and distorting it to make a wall of noise. With something like Genocide Organ, there's definitely an ebb and a flow. There's a rhythm to it. There's a pulse. It's definitely more musical than something like harsh noise, which I like harsh noise. But Genocide Organ creates a sonic palette and a landscape and a mood. I can drive around and listen to Genocide Organ in the car. It's like watching an old obscure film. Now, Remember, this is called Remember, and it's in a really nice hardbound book. This is a compilation of material as well, and it's a 2-disc thing. It's kind of a history of the band, and it's 2 discs of live material, and it's incredible, man. It's so good. There's a list of all the concerts they played. They've been around forever, and they've done very little, if that makes sense. They've always been kind of secretive, and they don't give interviews, and some people don't even really know who's in the band, and but this song, Dog Day, is probably one of my favorite Genocide Organ songs. It starts out with this long sample, and it sounds like, it's declassified. It's something you're not supposed to be hearing from some kind of military training. It's really good, man. It's really eerie sounding. They put out a brand new full length 2 years ago called Obituary of the Americas. I have it on vinyl, and it's fucking killer. But Genocide organ is just fucking harsh and just bleak sounding, man. And it's a big influence on a similar project that I've been doing for a few years. I'll talk more about that soon. So, anyway, Genocide organ, I really like them. I'll put some links below. I'm going to drop a link specifically to the song Dog Day because I think it's awesome. It is definitely an acquired taste. Like, if you don't know what this kind of stuff is, you're probably not going to like it. You're going to listen to a couple minutes of a song and go, I don't get it. But maybe it'll click with you. That's it for now. I hope that you've enjoyed this. We got more coming. Let's talk about these in the comments below. This is a little more of an eclectic grouping. And we're now into the G's, so I got some good stuff coming up. And we'll keep talking about music and talking about metal and talking about all this other nonsense. And I'll see you guys soon.